What's up, guys? This is Anon. None of this is financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes only. Just a guy talking about stocks. Alright, so let me go ahead, because I know a lot of people weren't planning on, obviously, me streaming tonight, but just figured I'd jump on and see if anybody was around. Kind of take a look at the week. I've been working on a project, which, let's see. Yeah, for work. So I've been, hey Jerry, what's up Tom? ATER did fantastic today. Yep, as long as it's not bleeding, right? It's doing great. Hey Dad, what's up coupons? Alright, let's see. Going ahead, I'm trying to get everything set up. How's everybody's weekend? Happy holiday, even though I worked today. I did too, Spencer. I also worked. What's up, Jerry? I was also working, and we're basically right now preparing something for sale, and it's been a lot of work on my part. So I'm hoping that once all this gets there, I'm going to at least settle down, but it sounds like they're going to send me out in the field again once I get this project done. But maybe we'll see. Hola, no post to the Discord. Yeah, I probably should post to the Discord, shouldn't I? I'm just getting it set up. Let me go ahead and click on this and YouTube video link. All right. It says we've got 11 people watching. All right, here we go. I dug up my entire lawn by hand. Whoa! I actually have done not the entire lawn, but I dig up a good portion from my garden, ripping out grass and all that stuff. It was a lot of work, so I feel your pain on that there. All right, so we'll take this, we'll put it in the Discord, and we'll have everyone get mad at me for posting another thing, but I'm just going to keep doing it. You guys can always mute it, mute notifications, or like just unsubscribe from notifications if you don't like getting them. I totally understand that. Come hang out if you're bored and want to talk stocks. Alright, there we go. Push that out. I'll tweet it, and then we'll do it. Alright, so we'll do Twitter, because I don't ever do it. I keep saying I'm going to do more Twitter, and I never actually post on Twitter. I only post that I'm here, but let's see what we got. Nazim wrote me, and he's got a bunch of followers. Yeah, he's got like 17K followers. That's pretty good. Good for him. I wanted to talk Scott's color brand and material. Oh, socks. Random wants to talk about socks. So let's talk about socks. I got some socks for Father's Day. What did everybody else get? All right. We said we were going to post this to Twitter, and then I got distracted. So let's take this, Control C, Control V, and talk stocks. Okay, and then we'll cut and paste, and we'll start getting along. So what do you guys want to talk about tonight? Yeah, Spencer. I mean, like it's more interesting. There is some busy work components because like my employer is like not part of the 21st century. They're very old school, and so literally I've had to like dig through files for like the last, I don't know, like I think I've basically been pulling stuff from like 30 years ago and up. So like I'm pulling out all these different files and having to scan everything in manually. So like I do have some helpers that are helping me do it, but like I'm trying to be a good team player and also, lead by example. So I'm in there with them doing it, but at the same time it's like miserable because it's like this should have just been all electronic years ago, but they didn't want to do that. All right. So we've got a couple people asking questions, so let's take a look. All right. Let's see. So you wanted to see GMVD. All right. Well, it looks like it's barcoding, so let's zoom out a little bit and take a look. Huh. I mean, it looks like it's oversold. It's came back and it's getting hit back down, but I mean, it looks like money's flown out of it, and they're trying to push it back down, but it does look like it's starting to come up. Let's see. Let me just do this real quick, because I don't know anything about the company. I'm just looking at the chart first, but let's just take a look real quick. We'll move everything over real quick. Take a look. So just for everyone, I'm just kind of taking a look at this. I'm not really sure what I'm looking at, to be honest with you, at this point. But let's take a macro view at this. So it looks like obviously it's squeezed up and then it's been nailed back down. You had a run here, a couple of days of volume here. Okay, so let's take a look at G Medical Innovations Holding. All right, so let's go over to our buddies over at Dilution Tracker and just take a look and see. GMVD. Okay, so I don't. Oh, no, here we go. I gotta sign in. Give me a second. All right, sorry about that. I was trying to figure out what's going on. My dilution tracker is not working for right now, so that's probably the quickest way to go through. Let me go ahead and write Sean real quick, and then we can kind of go from there. But I don't think he'll respond back tonight, so I'll probably not be able to eye it and just see if there's. It looks like there's probably warrants on that one. So let's see real quick. Yeah, it looks like there's warrants at 625, 350, $1.50, $1.50. So I don't know how many there are. It looks like they issued out around 6 million at 150, 2.4 million at 150, 1.3 at 350, and about 3 million at $6 on that one. So they also have notes convertible, which are at 350. So it looks like there's dilution on the table for them. Question is, they do have decent amount of cash, and they've got about 2 years worth of cash left. So from the chart, it looks like the MACD on the daily's crossed over. It looks like this was possibly the spring, and now you're kind of coming up. You're getting your first indicators here. CCI's over, so I mean it's possible that this could be the bottom, and then you'll see some recovery as long as the market doesn't absolutely kill it. But yeah, I expect it to probably at least touch back into the Opex cloud. So you're looking at maybe $1, but there are warrants at $1.50. So you have to figure they're probably going to try to pump it up to at least $1.50. But this was an interesting day. It looks like you all of a sudden had 60 million in volume out of nowhere. It moved all the way up to about 80 cents before it got pushed back down. So it looks like it's going to consolidate in this area, and then possibly another move up. You could see what maybe on Tuesday, tomorrow. We'll see. So that one's, it looks interesting. I'd have to do more research on it, but just off that's what I see. All right. My future children went to college, or they said to sell at 77. I'm smart. Anyone that doesn't understand that joke, it was the bots came on at 7 and said to sell, and then the stock just got tanked from there. So, all right. Does Opex have a relevance to the whole stock market? Seems like the only community that is talking about it is the GME community. I mean, yeah, it has a relevance to the entire market. Opex just stands for options expiry. That's all it stands for. So, I mean, you may only notice, but everyone's talking about Opexes. It's just, that's what Max Payne is, basically. The SPY has like 3 Opexes a week. Typically, most other stocks either have weeklies or monthlies. So, but yeah, I was going to say, if you're using the term right, Opex is just, options expiry. And that happens either, weekly, or it happens sometimes even buy or try weekly, depending on how large the ticker is. Like the SPY has, I think, 3 Opexes typically each week. So I got a giant lunch platter of meat and crackers and one of those universal sockets that will fit any bolts for Father's Day. Very nice. Anyone else get anything good? I got socks and some soft T-shirts, and my wife brought me out to a restaurant, which turned out not so great because the kids were running around screaming and making things not as much fun. So, yeah. So Superstock Sub has been spamming Rev and Redbox. Oh, sorry, Short Squeeze, not Superstock. Shorts. They've been spamming Rev, Redbox, and now Box D. Yeah, I haven't really been on Reddit that much. I jumped on for I saw somebody posted something, so I just responded. But for the most part, I haven't really been on Reddit a whole lot. Hopefully, I'm going to get some more time back, because obviously I'd love to be doing this all day long, but right now my job's really, really demanding. So let's move that back to right. I'll move this one over. Yeah, and here's the thing, right? So Redbox is going to be interesting because they finished over 12. So, like if there's the T+2, T+3 happening, you know, we'll have to see what, because the volume is dying down. And the more the volume dies down, the worse that's going to indicate things are getting. I mean, so you could have I expect this to fill. So I could see it pushing back up and then maybe at that point just dropping like a rock. But it all depends on if people are going to buy commons and keep pushing on this, because they're in a bad place, but they shut down options already. So like you're not going to get any gamma component. It's just going to be a squeeze component now. So it all depends on how many FTDs happen. And so what's up, GW? What's up, Tom? It's dirty. It's peekaboo, just say it. All right. We need to push lower in order to hit a nice spring level, eyeing that late June, July. Yep. What's up, Puzzle? How are you, buddy? Hope you had a good week. All right. You do any sailing? Let's see. BPBI. Got crinkle fries in the oven. All right. Hit that like button, everybody. Thanks, Jeff. All right. I can hear what keys you use to type your password. About to get hacked. Oil prices about to go up. Thoughts on HUSA and IMPP? And probably no. And the other one's what? Indo? Those are the three. So, right. I'll just do this real quick so we can get it out of the way. So HUSA, obviously, the oil prices on Friday were going down. A bunch of those stocks got kind of beat down. So Indo was one of them. Then IMPP. So these are all like small cap. Let's do this. Let's go to the hourly, right, on all of these. So we can kind of just take a look. So here's the last 2 days, last 2-3 days, and right. So between the three of these, right? We're gonna go Indo. Indo's got a tiny float, right? They've got like 1 million share float, so they've got a good chance of, they do have notes convertible, though, at $6, and we are above $6 right now. So they have, I think, roughly about like 750,000 shares, but, that's not that much. So it really depends, because this is one that, let's take a look at let me zoom out. It spiked here. You saw we had about 7 million in volume on a stock that has 1 million. But, this is one that can easily, out of nowhere, if retail takes an interest, it could move. It's same thing with HUSA. Like, HUSA's the Houston one. HUSA is got a float of like 7 to 9 million. So also very small float. And it also has gotten a good amount of attention, because if you notice, I mean, there were a couple days where you're looking at, like they had, what was that, like 21 million in volume. So they've had a couple like, decent days where they spiked up when they're covering. So that one's interesting. And then IMPP, let me go zoom out a little bit more. They hit their high here, and what was their float like? They actually have a larger float. And they do have, looks like they have their offering, right? They do have warrants as well at 55 cents, 80 cents. The ones at 80 cents aren't registered yet, but they're just registered. They're going to be registering June warrants. So out of the three of these, this one is the one I would be the most careful of, just because Now, here's the thing. Like, if you think that they're going to pump these up to their warrant prices, that could very well happen. That's what they tried to do with Redbox. So, obviously at 50 cents, for some people that's an attractive, like, because it's so low, they need to pump it up at some point. The problem is they do have a fair amount of dilution on the table. So out of the three of them, that is not my favorite. None of this is financial advice. I'm just saying, like, this one has a much higher float, and it has like a good amount of, like, I mean, it right now it's reporting 0% ownership, like, institutions, But I'm personally in HUSA, just because out of the three of them, it had a small, this is the smallest cap, I think, or the smallest float, followed by HUSA, and then this is the largest out of the three. But HUSA still has 10% ownership, whereas this was like 5%, and this one's at 0%. So, there's at least some people looking at, HUSA going, well, they could probably be profitable in a couple of years. And I think they're cash flow positive, so that's another good thing about them. So I took a shot on these guys because I think eventually what's going to happen is they'll consolidate down here and they'll have another run up at some point. So there you go. That's me covering those. And we'll keep this up for now. All right, let's see. Hope you had a good week. Yeah, if you hit the settings button, go to advanced and get 1080, you'll be able to see everything, because I know it's hard to see for some people. Spencer, got an hour extra sleep. Nice. And a 4-month. Yeah, honestly, with a 4-month-old man, that's good stuff. What's up, Jason? What's up, Mason? What's up, Fish? All right, you guys want to talk about Rev? I mean, so look at this. Like, let's just pull up. Or we're already on the daily. So, I mean, that's a lot of volume out of nowhere, right? So the question is why, right? I know there's been a bunch of catalysts that have been talked about, but oh, you know what, guys? So here's the deal. They have a ATM registered right now with Jeffries. Seriously, so I'm just letting you guys know what's going to happen. This is going to be the next prog in what's going to happen. So it's going to probably move up, is what I'll tell you. It will probably move up, but you have to realize that they are doing an ATM. ATM means at the money offering. So what they're doing is they're basically pumping up the stock. They're getting retail excited about it, and then they're going to dump into these guys and dilute while they're basically trying to squeeze it. Like, legitimately, like, they just they registered an ATM in April, and now they're going to try to raise money. So they're going to get retail to get all excited. They'll FOMO in, and then they'll start dumping about, I don't know, $25 million worth of stock into them and raise money. Because it had been pretty much a falling knife since. I'm just going back in their history a little bit. Yeah. So you double topped here, and now it's basically looking for a bottom. This probably was it, because you can see it crossing over. It was oversold. And now you're going to see, yeah. So here's your spring, and now you're going to see a movement up. But at some point, they're going to basically start issuing shares into it. I don't know what level, though. So it could run up to like 8. Who knows? It's really up to them. Like, I'm just throwing out random numbers. Like, they could start issuing shares tomorrow at like 3 or 4. But my guess is they'll wait till they get probably a little bit of momentum in here, and then they'll start issuing shares. So there is an ATM. So So I don't know how you guys with kids do it. I have no kids. I'm struggling to take care of myself. Yeah, it's. I'll tell you now, it's not easy sometimes. All right, let's see. Did you see my DD on Vista? No. Let me do this because I haven't really had a whole lot of time. I did talk to Fish earlier, but let's take a look at Reddit. I haven't. Things been signed out. Let me sign it. Oh God. Now they want a 6-digit authenticator. Where's my authenticator? Okay, let's take a look. So, what do we have here? We are looking for our buddy Fish. And I haven't had any time to do any homework on this, so we'll take a look real quick. And he said it was called VSTA. Okay. All right, this is one that he caught on the screener. So Fish has been working on a screener on Bloomberg, and he and I have kind of been tossing ideas back and forth on how to improve the filters. It's mainly him just doing it, but I just give my input here and there when he asks me. All right, so they're reporting right now 127% ownership. Okay. So Toots are buying. Buying so low. I like the ratios on that. Short interest, not a ton. Okay, so the short interest is about what is that? Is that 415,000 right now? All right, no dilution in sight. That's good. Yeah, I was going to say, so, I mean, let's take a look at the chart real quick. SDA. All right. Let me just see something. So it's been a falling knife pretty much for a while. So let me see. What are we doing here? This is on a weekly, but the low is roughly 216 or something like that, roughly. Let me go back to the daily. So we hit that low, and now we've came back up, we've curled down, and now we're basically back in the middle. It looks like CCI is coming down. We're still, though, here. So, I mean, if they had a strong day in this consolidation range, they could potentially push up. The question is, I'd probably have to go through all the filings. Yeah, Fish, I'm going to go through the filings with you tomorrow if you want, and we can take a look, because what's the float? Yeah, 2K shares traded, which means the stock's pretty illiquid, right? Like, what volume do we have here? It's like, yeah, 1879. Jeez, that's completely illiquid. Yeah, I just covered Rev, Danny. So if you want to know, Rev basically has an ATM going right now. They issued it in April. You can look it up if you want. It looks like it was for, I don't know, it was like 25 million or 35 million. I can't remember what the number was. You can go back in the video and look if you want. But they do have basically dilution right now that they're able to dump on at any point. So they'll probably pump retail up, and then they'll basically issue that ATM into the retail pumping to raise some money. So yeah, so I mean, this looks interesting. I mean, it's obviously a. What's the float on it? Like negative. Well, I mean, I understand it's negative because of institutional ownership, but it's how many shares outstanding? It's shares outstanding is what, like 76 million roughly? Is that right? Is that correct? No, okay. Oh, maybe that's the percent of the float that on the Bloomberg that I'm looking at. Okay. So 18, basically 19 million shares outstanding, but there's, okay, now I see what shares out is 19 million is what they were reporting. And then percentage out, though, is 127% out. Okay, gotcha. Now I see it on the Bloomberg. That's the float divided by shares outstanding, 76. The SI output, 1.9. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, this. Let's take a look at this tomorrow, Fish. I'd like to go and dive into this with you, and we'll go ahead and try to figure out what's going on there. Yeah, because you're right. It's not like highly shorted or anything. It's just it looks like their stock doesn't have much liquidity. Period. So, and if institutions own all this, we'll have to take a look at. It didn't look like there was any dilution that you saw. So, I mean, yeah, I mean that's a very interesting one. So let's take a look at that tomorrow. How's Aterian doing? Yeah, Aterian's right now obviously in like we had a good day on Friday, right? It was up a little bit. We finished at 260, right? So, what I'm expecting right now is we at this point, as far as like retail traders who are looking at Ethereum, you got to be patient and it's miserable right now because it's in the consolidation mode. Like that's where we're at. Like we were here, we dropped down, and now at this point, this was the market tanking, and now we're sitting here, right? But the lower this gets, and people hate this, but like the lower it gets, the more power retail has. So we made a large move, and here's the thing: like when this stock moves, it moves fast. I don't know if you guys remember, but this run up to 7, these first couple days, I mean, you went from like 2 to basically like 380, and then the next day, pushed up into the 4s. Then, I mean, we're talking about a matter of like 2 days, you basically like doubled, and then like from here, this run was pretty solid as far as like each day it was pushing like a little bit higher, a little higher. So this stock flies when it actually gets volume, and you can see like you get volume there, you move up aggressively, and that's how the stock is always done. Is because it usually hangs out in this low part until it hits a spring, and then it moves. So that's what's going on with Tyrion right now. And I'm going to write a DD and kind of update the numbers for people because there seems to be some confusion because people are looking at the SI percentage versus the actual numbers. So like there are more shares now which means that the SI obviously is going to go down. Like the short interest percentage is going to go down, but the number of shares hasn't changed. So shorts aren't actually closing their positions. It's just that there are more shares out there now. So the percentage of the pie has gotten bigger, so it means that it's less. Like, if that makes sense. So, Aterian, the short interest has not technically changed, like, in any drastic way. I think it went down like 2 million shares over the last, like, 2 months. But, like, yeah, it's nothing significant. So, okay, DTC. DTC is an interesting one, and I sent that off to a CPA because so far I have not been able to figure out this float in a meaning. Like, I think I have. I think I have got pretty good numbers, but every time I go over the numbers, they don't quite work the same way I think they should. And so let me show you guys at least what I got as far as. All right. So we got confirmation the other day that O'Hare or whatever it is, ATER or whatever, and MB Alternatives are not insiders. They're just large institutions that own a decent. So they're listed underneath the like insiders filings, but they're not actually insiders. They don't have a strategic position. So what we did was we removed them. So what I did was I came through and I added up all the, like, this is the CEO, this is the CFO, and then everybody else that has small amounts of shares that are insiders. 29 million from Summit, almost 30 million from Summit has Class A's. Bertram is the other one that was listed as an insider, along with Jan Brothers, but these Class B's don't count towards the float. So what we did was we took the 63 million, right? We subtracted out 42 million from the ownership. That's all these numbers added together, 42 million. And that gives you a float of 21 million, right? That's pretty straightforward. Here's the rub, right? So when I went through the 13Fs, right? So I added up all the 13Fs, and you can do it over here if you want to see. Like, so these two ones are the insiders. So we establish O'Hare or whatever it is. Go down here and look. That's 16 million plus another. That's 23 million, right? I was being generous and not even adding, but like, say 22 million, right? Well, the problem is there's only 21 million shares. So in this case, it looks like institutions have bought more shares than, exist. So you actually have a negative float on the stock, technically, if all these people are still holding on. Now, the problem is we obviously don't know because, with 13Fs, they only have to report them certain times. So people could have bought, sold, whatever, but we don't know. But as of the last filing, there were more shares out than there were, and so you're assuming at this point that, you have a negative float, and that's not even including retail. Like, that's no retail ownership. That's just institutions. So, and then on top of that, you also have about 2.8 million in short interest. So if you take the 2.8 million divided by a negative float, you actually get 165% shorted. That's what I'm getting. We did with the S3 method, and we got even like 252% according to S3. This is Fintel's numbers. These are all crap. But I was just going off of their numbers to show how, like, out of skew everything is. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Big Lebowski says, DTC IR has not responded to my follow-up either. Yeah, it seems like the fact that they responded to you, I'm still a little bit annoyed about, because I've written now twice, and maybe now 3 times, and said, listen, like, I'd really like to hear back from you guys. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Like, I don't know if it's like like, those darn kids caught us. Like, gotta fill that in real quick. Like, we sold more shares, and obviously the company doesn't sell the shares, but like these brokerages are like, like, we can't let them see that we're like over 100%, short. Did you see it? I sent you his direct email. I don't think I saw it, but let me check and just see, because obviously I was pretty much out of commission. Yeah, I don't see you writing me with it. Yeah, like I said, I don't see the message from you anywhere. Unless you changed your name. Yeah. Yeah, I don't see it for some reason. Okay. Oh, you sent us the @ in the DTC room? Okay. That might explain why I didn't see it. I was getting a lot of ats, and honestly, I didn't see them all. And then... Okay, here we go. Well, I was going to say, when you wrote that email, just reading your email right here, so you don't add the NPs to the 13Fs. They should already be included in the 13Fs. So, I do see he wrote you back, but I don't see an email in there. So maybe just you can get with me later on that. But that's what I had worked out, and we'll see what's going on with it. But yeah, I do want to take a look at this Vista thing tomorrow. I still think this is going to recover, and I don't know about you guys, but I've got a Morningstar, I've got a couple other, analysis tools, and they all have a couple of these stocks at. Let me just sign in real quick. I think they've got $12 price targets on them, and insiders are buying 6 figures worth of shares down here. I think this is going to turn around at some point. Yeah, they've got a fair value right now at $14.40 for DTC, so that's a 72% discount. So I think at some point these guys are going to rebound and turn real hard. And then you guys want to know about these guys. I mean, they've already had their run. This is the air cleaning company, right? Is that right? Was it They had the FDA approval of their stuff, I think, right? If I remember correctly. Is that the same company? AERC. DTC's free float is around negative 17 million per the Bloomberg terminal. Yeah, something's going on with that stock. I can't put my finger on it, but something's going on with them. So, because I think if I remember correctly, DTC we saw insiders and what's it called? Insiders and institutions owned 80 million shares according to Bloomberg. This just the shares outstanding is 63 million. So, yeah, it's weird, and this it's getting no volume. It's getting I don't know, 400,000 shares volume. It's not much, so we'll see. Let's see. Am I getting this ticker wrong? AERC. AeroClean. There we go. All right, so they've got, wow. So Morningstar's pretty bullish on them. They've got a $54 fair value target on them. I mean, that seems a little high. It does say underneath that uncertainty very extreme. So, but let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you would have wanted to buy back down here. It still has a chance to go higher, but it's just, you can see right now, everything right now has gone bearish. The volume's dying down. You can see right here the MACD had crossed over negative. You can see right now that they're trying to push down the price on the ADL. And right here, you're seeing slight lowering on that. Your CCI has dropped through, and you're also dropping now on the awesome. So if they get some follow through on this, it could turn more. But if they get volume on this on Tuesday, then this can move into the 20s and on up. But that's, yeah. But we'll have to double check and make sure that on the AeroClean that there's no other dilution coming. So just want to throw that out there for you. Okay. Can you check out TMBR? Okay, give me a second, Shadi. So Tibor Kovacs. Okay. Hello, Anna. I have not been watching for some time. My question is, how did the SI percentage go down in May? Did they not short more? Thanks. Okay. So basically what's happened is the float has changed on Aterian. So let me pull up Tyrion's. So I need to update this. I haven't really been working on this sheets. Let me see. Here we go. So I need to go through and actually probably get it together. But roughly, this is my guess right now. So we've got about 68 million shares outstanding. Now, this number used to be 63 million. Then it went up to about 65 million after some pre-funded warrants and stuff like that got issued through the private placement. And then you end up with, basically a float of 53 that's been, I guess that's what the float is without taking out any institutional ownership or any us guessing on like how much retail owns. So that's the number you have right off the bat to start with. So this is obviously higher because it's about 6 million shares higher than it was back in May. Now, so why is that? Well, all those shares went to basically now Armistice Capital. So they are the ones that had the pre-funded warrants, and also they have warrants and commons that they got from the deal they did for the private placement. The other portion of this is going to be the fact that they issued out a bunch of shares to retain talent. So what you had was guys like Yaniv. They now have like 1 million something shares. So like this number has grown. I think last time I saw he had like 1 million, like 1 point something million, like 1.5 or something like that million shares. A lot of these guys, their numbers have gone up because they issued out some shares of Tyrion. Hopefully what that does is it provides them with a incentive to basically get everything going and make sure the company's super successful, because you've now incentivized them. Okay, you want to make sure this company's stock goes up because you now have a bunch of skin in the game. So that's kind of the idea behind it. You don't get lazy, work your butt off, right? So the reason why the short interest hasn't changed but the SI percentage has gone down is just because they basically issued out those insider shares and also the private placement shares. Now, I think there's only about 900,000 left of the like pre-funded warrants, and then the ones in September are the additional 7 million. So what we're looking at right now is you now have a couple people who are going to have a good amount of shares at basically, I think their share price was like 310. That's what they're getting all these for. So they have a lot of incentive to push the stock up because they're going to be in at like 305. So that's one of the things. Let's see. But yeah, that's what's going on. Let's do it here. TBR. There we go. All right, so we had some selling pressure here. I mean, it looks like they're obviously pushing the stock down, but the market was going down. I don't know a ton about the stock. I can just eye something, but it'd be good to actually get a little more research. But let me see. So they do have a series of warrants. They also have an ATM. So there's a good amount of dilution on the stock, which might explain why it's been getting beat down since back here. So, I mean, you've got a good amount of dilution. I'm just, I can read you off some of them if you want, but let's see. You've got $1.16 exercise prices, 20 million shares. You've got $5 warrants, about 3 million. You've got some Series B warrants that are sitting out there that can be exercised at any time. It looks like you've got 70-cent November 21 warrants that are registered. And you also have an ATM from 2019 that they didn't use the entire thing, so they can issue those out too to raise more cash. But they'll probably have to push the stock up to get to some of those warrants. So you could see a reversal, but it's going to be basically getting to those, like cash. Let's see what else is going on. What's keeping DTC from gaining volume, Chin Chin? I'll be honest with you. My guess would be because people right now, the entire market's been bleeding. So, and what happened was the stock went up for like a couple days, right? So you had the stock's going up these days. Everything's looking great, right? It bounced. Most people caught the play around here, right? So we had a couple good days, and then since then we basically bled, pushed down. Even though we finished green, it still bled because you pushed up and then pushed down. So right here we're talking about maybe most people came in maybe around this point right here. There was a gap which got filled later, but 1, 2, 3, 4 good days, and then followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bad days. So 4 good days, 9 bad days. This is the 10, or yeah, so 5 good days, really, in the last like 10. So like you're kind of like sitting there going, or was it 5 of 9, right? So you've had more bad days than good since the stock kind of caught some retail's attention. And look, like this day had decent volume. It had about 2 million shares, but this is nothing compared to like if retail actually understood what was going on here. But I need to work out the float numbers. So I'm not writing any DT or any DD on this stuff until I understand the full scope of the float. So I sent this off to like a CPA and asked them, I was like, I need to understand what I'm looking at wrong. Because obviously something's wrong here. I must be reading something wrong because it looks like these guys are completely underwater. But yet it doesn't seem like it according to how it's trading. So like I'm hoping the CPA gets back to me and he lets me know like how I'm looking at things, either right or wrong or whatever. But I'd like an answer back as soon as possible for him. So, but yeah, like if they got any sort of volume, then it would probably fly. Okay, they were voted no on a reverse split. Okay. They got to get their stock price up at some point because they have to get above $1 or else it'll get delisted. You can file for extensions on that, but for the most part, yeah, they're in clinical trials already. Is it weird to be proud to hit on said my name? Oh, good, Chichen. All right. Let's see. I feel good about the successful results. That's a crapshoot, though. I'm just biotechs, if in general, like, just don't put all your money in one basket for biotechs. If you're going to play biotechs, it's kind of almost like playing roulette in a way. When you go to a casino and they've got, I don't know what the field is, but how many numbers are in the field, you might have a handful that actually hit over time. And hopefully they're large enough when you have a hit there that they keep you playing in that game. But and sometimes you'll crush it with a biotech. You'll nail biotech and they fly up and you make tons of money on it. But yeah, it depends if it becomes like an over the counter or if it's pink slipped. There's a lot of stuff that can happen. So let's see. Stocks on the NIC need to stay. Yeah, it's the same thing. If a company falls below New York Stock Exchange's the NYSC, they have to stay above $1. If not, they can risk having the stock delisted or a certain amount of revenue. Yep. Yeah. So basically, it needs to pass approval. If it fails approval, then you just flush money down the toilet. That's how biotechs work. Because I remember, and most of the time, by the time you read about it, you're usually not getting the best, Typically, what I've noticed is they tend to pump those stocks, those biotechs. They'll write a great article about it. And it's because people who had invested earlier just want to get out because they know that the thing may not pass. And so what they do is they pump the articles out about how this new product's going to probably pass approval, blah, 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 blah. They get retail to FOMO in, and then they get out, and retail gets stuck holding bags. It doesn't happen all the time for biotechs, but it happens a lot. So that's why if you're understand where you're pulling your information. Like, did you pull this from some random article that you saw as the next big ticker that's just be aware where you're pulling your information. I have a very good feeling it's going to get good results. Yeah, but we don't know, right? That's the whole thing. It's like would I throw a chunk of change at it? Sure, I could do that. I could also throw a chunk of change at, what was it called? Aero something. Otherwise, the FDA wouldn't grant them fast track. Yeah, it's possible. Breakthrough. Yeah, just I'm urging caution with biotechs. Make sure if you're going to do it, you understand the risk. And, I've got a buddy of mine who's working on a brokerage that literally does option spreads and stuff like that. And I've been talking to them about this, but just understand, cover yourself if you're going to be able to, if you're going to go long on them with shares, give yourself, and this is not financial advice, this is just me talking in general. If you go long on any stock and you're, buying it where there's some risk, you should buy something to hedge that bet. That's what smart money would do. So just throwing that out there. Obviously, this is not financial advice, but if you're going to go long on something, at least protect yourself in some of your assets by taking a position that could, if things go sideways, you can at least minimize your losses. So just throwing it out there. Yeah. FDA, another big juicy hand in the cookie jar group. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're fine with it, you're good there. What's going on with ATER? So ATER's shares have increased, the shares outstanding. So everyone keeps thinking that the shorts aren't covering. Shorts are exactly where they were. And with the market crashing, they haven't really needed to actually short the stock down to keep it down. You'll see actually the short interest will pick up when the stock's actually moving up in higher. And that's because, obviously, whenever the stock is moving up on its own, they're going to need to use shares to suppress the price. When the market's doing it for them, they don't have to work as hard. So they might only short like 20% on a day that the market's just crashing everything down. So what we found out is the shorts have basically not covered anything since the last couple of weeks, but the short interest percentage of the free float has gone down. So everyone keeps thinking like, oh, well, what's going on? The short stuff's going down. It's not going down. It's just the shares went up. So there's less, there's more shares circulating now than there were. And most of them went to insiders, and they went towards Armistice Capital and High Trail. So, but at this point right now, they've pretty much issued out all those ones right there. So I got to go to work now. Thanks, Anon and Fish. Thanks for the good DD and professionalism. Keep it up, lads. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, so where are we at? I can get about 20 minutes if you guys want to hang out and talk and ask anything else. Or did I miss any tickers? Somebody was asking about one. I think I missed it. Nah, I'll probably jump off. Obviously, there's more. Do you think Aterian will exist in 10 years? Yeah, I think Aterian will exist in 10 years. Like, at this point right now, they aren't like 250 million shares in, and now their stuff's worth like a couple cents. Whatever happened to SST? Is it ever good? Sorry, my ADD's kicking in. I haven't seen that ticker in a while. What's going on with this guy? Let's take a look at the... All right, so this was the squeeze, right? He went up to like 30-something, right? And then since then, it's been going down. And actually, this looks pretty interesting because it looks like it bounced, right? So this was the spring down here at 7. I could see a slight recovery. He got some volume finally. It wasn't like a ton, but like it got some volume on this day. Yeah, so like SST's the one where everyone told me that there was no possible way the S1s could hit that early, and I tried warning people, and the unthinkable happened. They processed the S1s early, and a lot of people got stuck. Now, it does look like this hit a spring, and it's going to start coming back up, and we could see some consolidation and then a slight move up, but we'll see from there. Oh, do we get bots again? Are we getting bots again? Will we get this delist? What stock are you talking about? I'm talking about SST right now. Random wrote, whatever happens to Aterian in 10 years will be determined by who eats who. I'm putting my money on Gator because Gators eat everything. Yeah, I think it's interesting though. So here, let me do this. Let me just pull up Aterian so you guys can see the chart and look at everything. So what I find really interesting right now is all of a sudden there seems to be a large increase of like, oops, what am I doing here? Charts, right? There seems to be a large amount of interest in, what did I do? Oh, that's because it's the wrong ticker. There's an X at the end. Yeah, I was like, that's not my stuff. All right. All right. So we had the run up here, right? Came back down. This is when some of the private placement stuff hit, was around this area. And then we've gotten the rest of the private placement hitting around here. So, question is, what's going on with the stock? Well, the stock obviously has more shares outstanding, right? Whenever that happens, it's dilutive. Even though they're insiders that own these, it still is dilutive by nature. However, we're hoping that these guys basically, because they now have, a couple 100,000 shares or 1 million shares, they're incentivized to do a lot more and trying to get the company as, high as they can, increase shareholder value, because it affects them as well. I don't know anything that motivates people like incentivizing them to get rich. But, the harder you work, the more you will earn, or more your stocks will be worth, right? So everyone keeps asking, oh, is this, listen, the short interest has just gone down because the float increased. The short interest is still here. Like, it's still like 8 million shares that need to be covered at some point. The question is, how comfortable are they shorting it down here? Obviously, they have the backdrop of there are September warrants, and they are at 3. What are they at? 350 or something like that, or 365? I can't remember offhand. See that I've been so out of the game, I don't even remember where they are. Where are they at? I'm trying to find them. 320. There we go. Thank you, Dirty. Yeah, so like they've got the warrants at 320, right? So obviously they will want to get the price above that. So minimum, that's where they're going to try to push the price. And then on top of that, though, the amount of time that they're spending down here, as long as I've seen, it's been basically retail accumulating. Because most of the people that are sitting here have been in the stock for a while, and they want to show that they've owned the stock. So they started registering their shares, and then what we saw was, I think we're still the number one ownership on that, right? Owners, retail ownership, and let's see if it's gone up at all. Yeah. Yeah, so it's us followed by SH, which is basically like an inverse S&P one. AMC is following now to number 3. BBIG is number 4. Tesla is number 5. GameStop is number 6. Number 7 is Apple. So, and you can actually see Aterian actually was one of the most bought stocks in the last 7 days. So I'll save this real quick and you guys can see. So there's a Tyrion right underneath GameStop. So basically, treasury bonds, bear, inverse, S&P, BBIG, this petrol, Vail, and then GameStop and Aterian, and then Redbox followed. So it's harder. The harder I work, the less money I make. Odd, isn't it? Who's buying them bonds, right? It's a good question. I mean, if you follow smart money, like, it's pretty interesting to see what these guys do, because you can actually see, like, if you go to the big shorts, like, you'll see that most of the smart money, like the names that you would be like, I wonder who's got this huge position. It's like CTC, Citadel, IMC Chicago, Deer Park, Bank of America, Yeah, I mean, Citadel right now is shorting S&P and QQQ. They're shorting and they've got huge amounts of puts. Jane Street, Susquehanna, Wolverine. These are all the usual suspects. So, can you look at AMC? Sure. So, I want to look at two things. So, I want to look at the move here on the 27th, 28th, and then a series of consolidations, which they basically chopped around from 6 to about 15, 14, 15, something like that, about 1450. And you kept coming up, and then eventually you launched, right? So it consolidated for, right, let's see. So from basically end of January to May is when they started running. So let's call it like 4 months. So 4 months of consolidation, right? So where did we go from here? So 5 till... To me, this looks like consolidation. And that's what you've gotten before you see runs. And so I do think AMC and GME are going to have another move to the upside. You can see on the RSI, it's curling up. The MACD, it looks like it crossed over. Yep. Crossover bullish. Obviously, your money flow and your on balance still relatively high, and yeah, I mean, I could see it taking another leg up. It's been consolidating, and I could see them taking another leg up. I don't know what the margin area is for these guys, but I do know that some of the big guys do have shares and calls long on AMC. And GME accuses them of being net long popcorn and short GME. So I'm not sure about all that, but what happens when a market maker takes on Citadel? I mean, Citadel's got different aspects of their business. So it's not just one specific thing. For their hedge fund, yeah, they're making a lot of money, and they just have a very open and transparent curtain between the two sides of their business. I don't know. They claim it's, they can't see what's happening on the other side, but I don't trust that at all. That's just my opinion. I don't like Citadel personally. I don't know anyone that works there. I don't have any, I just think you look at people like Ken Griffin, and I think at one point they probably started out and they were probably fine, but then they got greedy, and they adopted, he used to say no payment for order flow, and then they switched to payment for order flow, and ever since then he's been basically screwing over retail traders under the guise of helping them. They justify a lot of their stuff. So whatever annoys Citadel is probably a good thing for the retail market. Yeah, Citadel has a market-making business. They also have a hedge fund. They also have they have lots of different aspects of their business, and they make a lot of money, a ton of money. Would dark pools getting removed affect the market in a good way? Dark pools shouldn't even exist, to be honest with you. You know why dark pools exist? It's so rich people can get their money out without showing poor people they're getting their money out. Think about that. Dark pools exist so rich people cannot spook the market, right? So you allowed the richest people to basically go through and pull money out without actually affecting the market until they go, oh, well, we're out now if we can crash the market. That's incredible. Yeah. Shh. Don't tell anyone. Oh, we don't want to freak the market out, so we're not going to tell people that we're pulling our money out. Okay, now our money's out? Yeah, go ahead and crash the market. They exist for the sole purpose of... Look, this is distribution. They're selling. The rich, ultra rich, is selling in this entire range. Now they can make money betting that it will go down and pushing the stocks down. You know why? Because this entire run up here, you had retail basically just putting in money, nothing ever, You sat there, and we all invested. And you know who's screwed at the end of the day? The boomers who had been putting in all this money, were still very heavy on stocks, never touched their stuff, and they're now going to wake up and see half their money gone. Not half, maybe some of them a quarter. It depends on when they've been investing, but it's... Because they just have passive income that they just put into the market. So they're buying at these high levels. And you know who's sitting there taking and selling and making sure they're out? The rich people. You know how they did it? They used dark pools. So, yeah. I think dark pools shouldn't exist, in my opinion. If you sell your stock, right? number one, buying and selling, you don't even get a say. Like, your stuff's not hitting the exchanges, so why does anyone care what you're doing, right? His dark pools, if they didn't exist, probably mirror what's happening in Bitcoin. I mean, so you're seeing right now with Bitcoin and some of these like crypto, you're seeing the relationship because smart money has been going back and forth, pumping in money into, different coins, different, but they go back and forth between equities markets and crypto. And so they're basically just trying to, rock back and forth, make sure when they pump things up, everyone gets, FOMO. They start putting their money in, then they take their money out with distribution, and then retail's back holding. Eventually, they start selling. Once you get retail selling, then you can buy back in and do it again. Like, would not shock me to see Bitcoin go all the way down, like, I don't know, 17, 18,000, and then take a run back up. Like, so, yeah, it's not a great system, this entire thing. So, but I'm getting tired. I normally go to about 11, so I'll jump off here, guys. But if anyone that's enjoyed listening, if you want, you can join the Discord. It's free. Here, I'll go ahead and put it up for you guys. And that way, if you want to come join us and hang out and talk to these fun people that have been chatting with us, they're all in the Discord for the most part. So, Bitcoin to 1,000 fish. If it goes to 1,000, I'll buy a ton of them. What's up, man? All right, well, good talking to you guys. I know you're a bit late, but good night. Thanks, appreciate it, man. You can listen to the stream later. Should be on replay, I think. So, all right. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow during the market, okay? All right, have a great one, guys. Oh, yeah, and I linked the Discord, right? Okay, good.